Welcome to another edition of Press Hour. Ladies and gentlemen, we do not suppress our emotions on Press Hour. We instead make sure that we use our good sense to guide, to counsel us as we express them on the hot debate that you always have on Press Hour. You're going to have just that again today. There are many ingredients of democracy, but in our research for today's program, we have decided to classify them under 4 themes. 1, a political setup for choosing and replacing government through free, fair, and transparent elections. 2, a system that allows for an active participation of the citizens in politics and civic life, where dialogue and debate prevail. 3, a system which promotes and protects human rights. And 4, a setup in which the rule of law is sacrosanct, freedom of speech, independent judiciary, and good governance. You have all of them on your list, but we decided to have that. After examining these ingredients, our position is that Cameroon is a democratic country, but our question is, what is the score on 10? We have 2 related topics on Press Hour today, which are going to be put in front of the democratic mirror, and with us all, you and all of us, we're going to see the reflection that we get. The first one is 2022 senatorial election results. Where is the opposition? The second topic, the CPDM at 38. What legacy is it leaving the Cameroonian? The party continues. You see how interesting this topic is. You're also going to see how interesting the panel is. And I'm going to start with you, Barrister, Solicitor Ernest Mbaka, who is the Vice President of the General Assembly of the Cameroon Bar Association. You're welcome to Press Hour today, Barrister.
Thank you very much, Kilian. Thank you for having me. I'm also happy to be on the same panel with the venerated Professor Ngole and my brother Ojong.
Yes, I'm talking about Professor Elvis Ngole, a big week of the CPDM party. That's why we brought him. He's going to tell us all what the party has achieved. At 38, Professor Elvis Ngole is a member of the Central Committee of the CPDM. Prof, it's always our pleasure, our honor to have you on Press Hour.
The pleasure is shared, especially as I have the honor and the great privilege of being with the learned barrister and
Mbaka
and
Stephen
Director General.
Ojong.
I want to call him Director General. It might not be Steve Ojong. And what is important here is that it's always good when we meet and talk as fellow citizens, because each and every one of us has something to contribute. And I always appreciate when I listen to the lawyers or listen to the journalists, or I admire everyone in his or her own trade or profession.
Yes,
and I think they make such a great contribution that our country's future is guaranteed.
Yes,
I have no problems about the future of our country.
And we know you have no problems, and through several discussions, we have concluded that your temperature is always at 36.5, 37 degrees.
Yeah.
In all the panels where you are invited, you are always calm.
Yeah.
You don't give the punches that some people give. You calm, you listen.
Yes.
It's very exceptional to have someone like
we
you.
learn from each other a lot.
Yes, and you're talking about Stephen Ojong. Stephen Ojong, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Median newspaper. You call him Director General. He should even be more than a Director General in that respect. Steve, we're happy to welcome you on Press Hour.
Steve Ojong is simply the publisher editor of the Median newspaper. I'm happy to be back on Press Hour after about, say, 2 years break. I'm happy to meet the very erudite, venerable and venerated Prof. Elvis Ngole, who has helped in no small measure to keep this program going. I took a break to sit back and also watch from my parlor how the program unfolds. I'm happy to be back.
Thank you for coming back, Steve. you owe Press R so much, you are going to make up for all that time lost. Now, Albert Bonde is the political desk editor, CRTV Radio. I don't know who does not know Albert Bonde, but we're going to introduce you here because you are debate. You also one of the persons people ask. He works in CRTV, but he has that level-headedness in the way he analyzes things, and that's why we've invited you. That's why we always invite you to talk politics. Albert, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, you have seen we have press review, and that's the kicker of Press R. We're just going to watch what the newspapers fed on this last week. And Faith Ngwang read through the newspapers and has the press review for us. Faith?
Welcome to today's press review. 15th Ordinary Session Conference of CEMAC Heads of State. Cameroon Tribune headlines on a new beginning as President Paul Biya of Cameroon passes the baton of command to his counterpart of the Central African Republic, Faustin Archange Touadéra. In the same vein, Intégration tightens up on the profile and challenges that lie ahead of the new CEMAC leader. The bi-weekly newspaper Insider, on its part, spotlights on the strong resolve by the summit to cement regional integration. As hot newspaper hails President Paul Biya's leadership at the helm of the CEMAC. The news daily, L'Économie, captions, "It is the time of the Central African Republic." Echo Matin reveals the new faces of the heads of community institutions at the dawning of the CEMAC summit in Yaoundé. Flip through the pages of the Guardian Post Daily and News Watch as they report that the Douala Port Authority has been scored high by the Pan-African Financial Rating Agency after a first rating phase. In a related development, Repair reports that the Douala Port Authority is a good risk for investors, while Echo Matin shows Elundu Esomba's accusing finger on NAO for the non-respect of contractual obligations. Cameroon Tribune comes back with the verdict of the polls as the CPDM hit full box, claiming all 70 seats after the March 12 senatorial marathon. A bit down the cover page, the National Bilingual Daily celebrates the strides of the CPDM at 38. Taxation Department gets new Director General, the Guardian Post subtitles as you read in page 6 of the paper that Myonga Bath is no greenhorn to the Taxation Department. Let's take a trip to the northwest and southwest regions, still with the Guardian Post, as it recounts that the U.S. intensifies crackdowns on AMBA sponsors. The Horizon, for its part, counts the achievements of the Northwest Public Independent Conciliator, while zooming on Atanganju's handing of government relief package to victims of Boya. Also open to page 5 of Cameroon Tribune of March 22nd and read how government stands with the victims of the Boya floods and the aftermath of the floods. Personality of the week, Paul Atanganji, the Guardian Post mentions. And in sports, Cameroon Tribune says Namibia came to steal points from Cameroon in the ongoing qualifiers for AFCON 2023. Hope you enjoyed.
Thank you very much, Faith Ngwang. We actually enjoyed it. We hope that our viewers enjoyed it as we did here. We watched that with rapt attention. Now to our first topic, the senatorial election results proclaimed. That was this week, with the CPDM sweeping all the 70 out of the 70 elective positions at the Senate. We have 30 to be appointed by the President of the Republic. We are not yet there. We are talking about the senatorial elections results of 2023 with the CPDM having 70 out of 70. We are going to start by appreciating the elections, appreciation of election. 1 minute to each panel. We start with Political Desk Editor Albert Bonde.
Thank you very much. Respect of deadlines was very good. I was particularly pleased to see that even those that lost the elections were fair play, to say that Elekam, as per the law, did the job and did the job very well. Polling stations were opened at the required time, closed at the required time. Deadlines as far as candidacy papers were concerned were submitted in time. The list, so respect of deadlines, good. Now, when it comes to questions of where people have problems, it is as per the provisions of the law, which many feel should be modified. That's another different game. But globally, I think that Elekam, as far as the material organization is concerned, did a good job. The campaigns went on without any hate speeches recorded and calls for violence like we see in other places. We have problems of acceptability of election results. We see in Nigeria, like we've seen it even in Cameroon previously. I think for this one, even those that lost were fair to say, even though the CPDM has taken everything and we have nothing, as per the organization of the polls, everything went well.
Yes, and Jim Bondet Abbott talked about law, and I cannot skip you, the man of law, Barrister Baka Enes, your appreciation of the elections.
Yes, we must understand to the context. The senatorial election in our country, you know, the electoral college is very limited. It's not like in the other elections, and we've seen in the past Elekam organized elections even in very difficult context with a larger electoral college, and they succeeded. They play by the rules, by the law that they have, what is defined and put before them. I think there is nothing to say much about the organization that other than say it went well based on what they have by virtue of the law. So I think, and that's why it's like when the process was going on, it was almost like nothing was happening in Cameroon because of the limited electoral college. So,
Yeah, I'm coming chronologically, but I'm going to skip Prof. Prof is our elder on the set, so we'll give you the last position for you to have listened to all of us, and you have the final say when it comes to appreciation. So now to you, Stephen Ojong, your appreciation of the senatorial election right up to proclamation of results, declaration.
I would say the elections went well. Everything was okay before, during, and after the elections. You recall that before the elections, Elekam convened consultations with the stakeholders of the election process. I participated in those consultations, and Elekam gave the assurances and reassurance that everything was going to be okay, because some parties raised some fears that there could be insecurity, especially in the northwest and southwest region and in the far north. But Elekam gave the assurances that with the collaboration from MINAT and the security forces, security will be there. People the voters will go and vote without any problems. And when I observed the elections at Mfundi, everything went well. The voters came on time, voting stopped on time, and reports that came from the field were to the effect that everything went well across the country. Even the CPDM that raised fears that there would be insecurity in the Northwest, they attested that the elections were well handled and well managed in the Northwest region.
Yes,
so I think it was a good and fair elections.
Yeah, talk about the Northwest. I'm not just talking about elections. I have people who even celebrated publicly. I'm talking about Senator Henry Francis, who had a surprise celebration that went viral, public and viral. So that also even happened after election. They were not running around hiding to do such things. So it only adds to what you were saying. Prof, now your turn.
Yes, I agree with all the speakers before me that these elections were really among the best that we've had in terms of organization, in terms of the atmosphere, and the results being what they are, I think they were good elections, and I think the previous speakers have said it all. And Mr. John Bonde Albert said something earlier, that in this election, what we did not see was hate speech. What we did not see was animosity. What we did not see was incivility. That tells us that I think that we are good learners. Something is happening that is making us look better and better. And yes, there will always be criticisms here and there, but overall, as everyone has said, I think Cameroonians have shown that they are mature and that they can be mature, and that in spite of whatever the result that we may have, we still remain a rational, mature people who can make rational and mature decisions, and who at the end of the day will always recognize that we are only one people, one nation. In spite of all the political parties, we are one, and at the end of the day we remain one. That is why when Mr. Albert Njembonde said there was no hate speech, I was very glad that he brought up that point, because in past elections or in elections in other countries, usually
in Cameroon we are just 3 years, 2.5 years after elections in 2020. We had open fights. Fighting. We had that. It's in Cameroon, so it's to say that this time
we are really it's looking well, and it shows that we can do better. We will do better, and we have no reason to be discouraged or to feel angry that we didn't get as many votes or as many seats, because at the end of the day, as I've always said, an election, no matter how you define democracy, is nothing but a competition, a kind of exam among mature, rational people who are learned, who are rational, and that at the end of the day, when the votes are counted, okay, he who, the institution that is charged by the law to pronounce the results, proclaims the results. But at the end of the day, these results do not change us. We remain the mature people, the reasonable people, and the informed citizens that we are, educated citizens, and we will always make sure that we control ourselves and we remain there for the good of all.
Yes, Prof. It's your party.
Yes.
That picked everything 70 on 70.
Yes.
Could you say something different from that?
Yes, I couldn't. I mean, it was not a surprise to me. After all, I was one of the campaign actors. I headed a whole divisional campaign, and you already knew that, empirically speaking, scientifically speaking, out of the 11,000 voters or electors,
11,100
and something electors, the CPDM could count on at least more than 10,000. That if you look at all the regional councillors and the municipal councillors, the CPDM had a majority, even though the law itself, the constitution and the electoral law do not in any way specify or provide that simply because you are an elector on account of a political party that you must vote for that political party. It doesn't say so.
Yes, Prof, there's something that worrisome.
And there's proof of that. We saw it in the East, I think in Garwabula area. We saw it, I think, in Mezam, in Bamenda.
Yes.
And somewhere. There's
something, I stay with you, there's something that is worrisome to so many Cameroonians.
Yeah.
You were talking about democracy and the rest. I started by talking about it. Yes, Cameroon is a democratic country.
Yeah.
Is it normal for a democratic country in 2023 to score 100% in an election? Is it really normal?
No, it's very good that you're using the word, is it normal? It is normal because it's scientifically, you could, or empirically, you could, when you go out for a campaign or in that competition, you aim at 100%, like everyone else is. I mean, we're not, except that if you look at the history of elections, it is rare, it's an exception, that one actor, one political party will score 100%. But to say, is it normal or is it not normal? It is normal, except that that's rare. It is rare. The fact that it is rare does not make it bad and does not make it abnormal. You know, because when we say it is not normal, someone will say, oh, that means it's bad. No, it is not bad, because it is only reasonable that if you have 10,000 plus out of an 11,000 plus basket of voters or electors, that no matter what, you are likely,
yes,
arithmetically, mathematically,
yes,
to score that, even though the law does not say that just because you are an elector on account of a political party, you must vote for that party, and we have proved that it was not the case even this time. So the CPDM has done well. The result is rare, but it is normal, and it is rare, and it's normal. But does that mean that it is bad? It is not bad. It is good for the CPDM.
Yes.
And I think for the other political parties that failed, that did not get that, because the fact that the CPDM got 70 out of the 70 does not mean that the other political parties are bad or that they are excluded. No, I think that they should be optimistic and hopeful.
We will have
they will continue to contribute.
Yeah, okay, hopeful. Not that they are happy about it. Albert, from what Prof has said, he has a right to his opinion, to his analysis, but I am coming back to you for reasons of politics, because you have been following that up. Politically, you are the political desk editor in CRTV. In the Adamowa, that is one of the cases we were looking forward to, for a coloration, and they had the majority of the voters. But there's the Cameroon People Democratic Movement also carried all those votes in that place. When you look at that, what happened in that place?
Well, it is simple arithmetic. Barrister talked a while ago about the limited number of the electorate. So in other words, it's easy to know what strategy will give what result. And I think that what was normal is the expectations that there was even a possibility of having a relative majority. I think that where there was a difference was the strategy in the campaigns. There was a real possibility of the NUDP winning. I think one of the issues which the CPDM may have understood beyond the other political parties, one, is the importance of municipal elections from the word go. Because it's from municipal elections that we got regional elections, and these are the two electoral colleges of the senatorial election. So once you miss it at the municipal elections, you miss it at the regional elections, it's game over. Where we had a possibility was that there was a very slim margin in the number of municipal and regional councillors between the NUDP and the UNDP. But where the UNDP made an error, in my opinion, was an error of simple mathematics, in the sense that regional and municipal councillors have just one vote. In other words, NUDP had quite a number of regional councillors who were also municipal councillors. If these portfolios were given to two separate people, they would have had two votes. But unfortunately, these personalities had just one vote. It means that you have mathematically deprived your political party of one vote. Remember, there were 23 councillors who were in that situation, and none of them is of the CPDM, because the CPDM from the word go had refused that if you are a municipal councillor, you will not run for the region. So that is a simple mathematics that could have made the difference in the made the margin even slimmer for the NUDP party. And I will want to say that we have many of such possibilities where the opposition could have made a difference. But the issue is the opposition not being able to understand that with the CPDM running 316 councils out of 360, you still needed to do some mathematics. In other words, to maximize your chances, there was need for alliances and coalitions, which never happened. So the opposition was, in other words, running for an election that they were sure they were going to lose from the mathematical point of view. Now, if you want us to talk politics, I will tell you that it may look normal, like it may look abnormal. I think that
Prof says that it is rare.
I think that
we are going to handle that, underline that word rare. Why is it rare? But yes, go ahead.
I think that it is, it may be embarrassing for the party in this very, very monolithic kind of dispensation. But I must say that everybody goes to an exam to score the best of points, and the CPDM just did that. I think that what was abnormal was for the opposition not to understand that even on equal forces it's difficult to beat the CPDM. So now that the game was seemingly unequal from the mathematical point of view, politically there was need for alliances. That never happened. That means that they were programmed to fail.
Thank you.
Even before.
Thank you, Barrister Ernest Baka. An electoral college is made up of people who have the conviction, who ideologically are convinced that I know why I belong to this party. Which means that we are not supposed to have a situation where someone just comes up and then tells you that go and vote for a different party. When you look at that, what reading do you have of that?
Well, it's about conviction. If an elector believes that the person maybe from his party cannot deliver, he has the right. That's why it is a secret ballot, and that's a culture we really need to instill in our society. You can change if you are not comfortable. It must not really be what your party stands for, but what somebody, for the general interest of the people you represent, that stand for in the society. So an elector who is a councillor, a regional councillor, who thinks that her party has brought up a candidate that cannot meet the aspirations of the people, it is just but logical that is what we should do in our country in order to move ahead. So the aspect of remaining stick to the ideologies of the party, to what has the rules defined, right? No, that is not. I think to me it's not correct. But again, we also know that it is most of the times not that, because of the context. People at times are in difficulties. Money, change hands. And people use that to lobby for support and all of that. You can understand the context of hardship in our society. So it's possible that so many things come into play for such decisions.
Yes, that will only be unfortunate that because of hardship you change your conviction. Stephen, we're still on where are the opposition parties in an election where we had 10 opposition parties. Only one party has won. Where are the opposition parties in this senatorial election in our country?
It will not be an overstatement if I say that we don't have an opposition party in Cameroon. If you look around the country, most of the organizations that call themselves opposition parties are appendages of the CPDM party. They exist because the CPDM party wants them to exist. If the CPDM and its leader, President Probia, did not want them to exist, they will not exist. The CPDM, as a matter of fact, even protects them, some of these parties, to exist. So we're in a situation where it is the CPDM that has
I want you to explain that well, because I don't understand. You have the CPDM that is under the state. The state covers these parties.
It may interest you to know that if they were not giving handouts, financial handouts to some of these parties to be able to run their campaigns, we will not have up to 3 parties running in this election. Most of them fielded candidates because they wanted to collect the money that the government was giving them to do their campaign.
Government gives to all the parties, including CPDM. It is the law, it's not CPDM.
That's what
that one is state.
The CPDM
not CPDM.
government fixes the laws. and they fix the laws to satisfy their interests and their aspirations. The CPDM looks well ahead. These other parties are short-sighted. They don't see where the CPDM is coming and where the CPDM is heading to. So they always fall into the trap of the CPDM. The CPDM had won these elections way back, like Albert said. The CPDM had won the elections 100% when they won the municipal elections. It was already very clear what the coloration of the Senate will be, that the CPDM will have 100%, except President Paul Biya in his magnanimity decides to hand a portion of the country to a political party, like they did to the SDF in Adamawa. You all know that Adamawa, the SDF had no councillors in Adamawa.
It's not President Paul Biya distributing. It's the law that made it that way. The CPDM was disqualified there, and another party.
President Paul Biya is the law in Cameroon. The law in Cameroon. If President Paul Biya decides that somebody should get this, he will get it.
No, well, as president, not that he's the law.
I think that on that score, we should rather say the CPDM is a very, very stratified and well-structured party, and a party that, unlike the others, has succeeded to keep its national grip. Everywhere you go in this country, whether you like it or not, people like to talk all the time about fraud and things like that. But the truth about it is that when it comes to national representation, a lot of people who speak on Facebook, on WhatsApp, they are not even registered in the electoral rolls. Let me tell you something. I continue to say that for the opposition to exist in Cameroon, if we don't go beyond 15 million voters, it's a waste of time, because the plus 7 million voters we have today are the effort mainly of the CPDM and Elekam. The bulk of the job is convincing those who are on social media to know that the republic is not managed on social media.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. There's a point. There's a point I want Professor.
The situation on ground does not permit the other parties to know what the CPDM has.
It permits. You don't need effort. You don't need money to convince someone to go and register.
You know that. Absolutely. You are sacrificing your
you don't need money to go and register. Honestly, if Cameroonians feel that there is hardship and that the option is no longer the CPDM, let's be brave enough to tell them, please, you have the alternative through your ballot.
Let me just say something before Prof comes. Let us look at the context. How did we get to multipartism in Cameroon? I said it somewhere that the multipartism that was forced down the throat of CPDM in the 90s has finally been vomited because CPDM refused to its digestion. What do I mean? What I mean is that the CPDM government, that is the CPDM that controls this government, has all the powers, and they have been using those powers since the 90s to make sure that they stay at the top financially, in terms of the institutions, just like Ojon
is that not
said,
normal in politics?
Just like Ojon said a few minutes ago.
In politics,
you are most people who are in the public service, you either not participate in politics, or if you participate in politics, you better align with the ruling party, else you face serious problems within your job, within your services. And that's why we say
elections in Cameroon is secret.
No,
balloting.
When you say secret, first of all, it is about the opposition parties first coming out seriously within the context to operate in the society. First, you go to the local areas, you have the DOs who are part of the administration controlled by the government, the DOs, the senior divisional officers, the governors, who play their own role to facilitate things for the ruling party,
for all the parties,
and make it at times difficult
for all the parties.
Let us be honest about this thing.
You ceremony organized by an opposition party.
That is it. They are always stopping them. They don't allow them. They don't give them the opportunity the way they give to the party in power. We must face facts if we want to progress in this country.
Now, I don't know. I am not going against what you are saying. I will meet one of the opposition party leaders and ask whether when they have asked for the authorization for a public manifestation, they give the duo or whoever an invitation to their. I'm going to ask them this.
Well,
if they don't give, then there is a problem.
I want to make this
Yes.
point. I want to make a point.
Are you seeing the way you are suffocating?
I just want to say that I think President Paul Biya accepted multi-party democracy in 1990 in good faith. But after what happened in 1992, the president became G3. After the embarrassment in 1992, the president became G3, and he has always been very careful about elections. What is happening today is as a result of what happened in 1992. They don't want to have that kind of embarrassment anymore.
Well, that's your analysis. Yes, Prof.
From what has been said up till now. You know, when, as the learned barrister Marcus says that multipartyism was forced down the throat of the CPDM, I couldn't agree with that, because I know, and it's a fact, that when President Biya came to power in 1982, and he developed this, it's not a slogan, developed this theme of a New Deal.
New Deal, yeah.
He said he wanted a new Cameroon, a different Cameroon, a Cameroon of the New Deal. And he did define what he meant by that New Deal. And among the elements of that New Deal was that he wanted a Cameroon in which people were free, that the society was liberalized, and that there would be democracy. This is what he said in 1982.
Yes.
So that is not a question of force. There was no,
let's allow that for the second
but
topic.
I just wanted to say
this, our second topic is talking about
I wanted to just
the legacy, achievement of the CPDM.
Yes, I wanted to say that, look, we could attribute all the fault or the blames on someone. It's very easy to do. But believe you me, let us, if we try to leave our emotions or our passions aside, and we try to remain just commonsensical, this is what we teach this to our students, that for a political party whose only raison d'etre is to win an election in order to attain a position of power, for a political party to succeed at that, it needs at least 5 things.
Yes.
One, it needs to have a good message.
Yes.
It needs to have a good communication, the method of communicating. 3, it needs to have a good strategy, political strategy, organs of strategy. 4, it needs to have resources. It needs to be able to get resources, human resources, financial resources, or whatever. And finally, and above all, for a political party to succeed, it needs what the Nigerians tend to refer to as a structure. Meaning, you must master what is going on the ground. If you look at our 330 political parties, Steve said earlier that he doesn't think there's an opposition, but I think that there is opposition party. The problem, as Albert said earlier, is that mathematically they ought to have understood that if in your strategizing, the mathematics is against you. And based on that understanding, they should have relied on, in their strategizing, they should have relied politically on different kinds of strategy, which they did not do, because, as he said, they could have done alliance formations, they could have done others. They failed to do that. And I tell you, once you are short of those elements that I've just mentioned, the chances of you getting a favorable outcome are very little for you. And this has nothing to do with blaming the electoral law. Those are things, those things can be changed at any time. Reforms are always there, but we have to know that if you decide that you want to be an actor, you have to ask yourself, what does it take for me to get the result that I want? But if you're going to spend the time the easy way to blame someone else, to blame the law, and forget that, no, it's incumbent upon me, the actor, to be able to ask myself, what do I have in order for me to get to where I want to go? Most of our political parties don't do that. They spend a lot of time which is the easy thing to do. I mean, if I want to, the easy thing to do, as he said, get some money wherever the money comes from.
Yes,
to go to social media, because it's so easy to go to social media, to go to the classical or traditional press media, because that's so easy to do, and to blame everything else on the CPDM or on the government. This is not the right, and the others to make it even worse. Some even go to the extent of insulting and blackmailing, and now even threatening the lives of people. Now, this is not.
Yes, we still have two questions to get out of this topic. Please, just two questions, and I think you will find yourself in this question. Now that we just have the president to do some gymnastics and bring in the opposition. If not, then it will be a one-color Senate. What will be the impact in terms of debate in the Senate that is one-color? That question is very important.
Kilian, this I want to say, and on a very serious note.
Yes, when you say that, you chain up this question.
Yes.
Please be brief also.
Yes, I'll be brief. Is that I come back to simple mathematics. The East region had only or has only one council, which is run by the opposition, Garu Abulai, 24 councillors. At the end of the counting, they have 100 votes. Plus 76. The SDF has just one council, Bamenda 3, is 31 councillors.
Yes.
They end with 40 votes. That is plus 7. You take a council, a region like the Center region, out of 70 municipal councils, the Monatele Council, FDC has just
only one
in Monatele. They end up with 87. It is plus 86 votes. It is a message of its own.
It is.
Because whether you like it or not, I'll say something which I think even Prof will find himself. All opposition political actors, especially of the CPDM, we are in 2023. They are already living in 2025.
Yes.
In other words, everything that is happening now, they are thinking of the model elections in 2025, which are the presidential and the twin elections. So what I'm saying is that, one, there is an electorate the opposition needs to find. One, those who are not yet registered, and even the disgruntled ones
who are voting. Your message is very good. You see, I allowed you to flow because it's something that is very interesting. But now we have to go to the next topic in less than 5 minutes. Please be brief in this question that I'm asking you now. Debate in the Senate. What is the place of debate with one political party?
I think the first thing is that the President of the Republic is not the president of the CPDM.
That's true.
And so I think with the situation now, is finding himself under the obligation to divide the 30 seats into at least 2, to make sure that all the political ideologies of the country are represented. True that it doesn't make a parliamentary group, so it may not carry the same weight like if you have a parliamentary group. But I also think that within the CPDM, you have some progressive minds.
Yes, thank you.
I listened to an engineer from the Northwest, and I think that you have some who can spur a new dynamic from within. Even the party has made changes where you have people like Genevieve Choev, Thomas Yum, they are not there.
Thank you, Albert.
Could create that dynamic.
Yes, we're not going to answer the same question, Barrister, because we don't have time. Let us see, we have 25 women out of 70. Women were clamoring for at least 30. So the president should look at them.
Of course, I don't think that the president would appoint only men. I mean, honestly,
at least bring them up to 30.
For something on that side, we are very optimistic. The quota for women would certainly be met. For that, the president handles that correctly. But
debate,
yes. To be honest with you, even if the 30 come from the opposition, we still have a majority that is the CPDM. And we have seen the way our parliament, be it the National Assembly, the Senate, the way it has functioned in the past. There is nothing seriously one should be expecting from the Senate. When I look at like the last mandate, what one of my mentors, Senator Kemende, went through to push through certain arguments and certain issues in the Senate alone, and I saw colleagues of the Senate coming to pull him out. It's really a disgrace for our democracy, and I really see nothing that I don't see the next mandate with any hope, because the style remains the same.
But what he did have an impact. What he did have an impact.
Impact
for immediate impact.
Immediate. Well, if you say so, but honestly, we have really not seen a lot of changes, things coming out from our parliament. That's why we have a lot of scandals. We have seen scandals in our country, and our parliament has remained silent. Honestly, within the past decades, we have seen them. So I really do not see anything much apart from an opportunity for lobbyists to enjoy the opportunities they have given to
the session that is ongoing now. Opened with a statement, and they actually qualified what is happening here as scandals and asked government to stop it.
I think
that is an individual statement.
No, it's parliament. It's at the opening of the parliament. Now, let us go around. We just want to not to leave out certain points and take one position.
Absolutely.
Yes, Prof.
Yes.
Political debate.
Yes, I
with your
think
party,
that,
you will just pass through everything.
This is a moment.
You don't even need to bring it up for debate.
No, I can tell you something. That there's one thing that I can say without any reservation, and that is that this is the moment when we will understand whom we have as President of the Republic.
Okay.
Because according to the law and the Constitution, in a Senate of 100 seats, 70 elective and 30 appointive, the only difference now that from the standpoint of the Republic, a Republic of inclusion, where all of us matter and must contribute, we are counting on one factor, the president, one element, the President of the Republic. And I'm very convinced that the president we've got in the person of President Biya is the kind of president we need in Cameroon at this moment. And I can assure you, based on what I know, you will see that all our worries and our expectations, as have been expressed on this table, they'll find answers in what he will say.
We trust that.
He will say,
we
because he is the president.
We trust that.
For the Republic of the Republic, he is the president of the people, by the people. He is a true Democrat, a true Republican. Yeah. And let us wait and see, because we cannot say what he will do. The law gives him, the Constitution, the law give him the power. They do not say how he has to use that power. But knowing who he is, we know his mantra, we know his political vision, his philosophy, we know what his policies are. What you are going to see is a lot of our worries and concerns here.
Thank you, yes.
I am very sure
be reflected.
You will see
a president who listens.
Rather than a monocolor Senate, and all of us will say, long live the president, long live the Republic.
Yes, Stephen, we cannot leave you out on this topic, because, we had 10 political parties. Let us say, even the political party that had just one elector, each party should have a senator. What do you say to that?
Well, it is always said that President Paul Biya is the father of the nation. As the father of the nation, we expect him to use his paternalistic disposition to do distributive justice.
Okay.
It's like a father sharing food amongst his children. We expect him to give food to all his children. But here again, there's something I want to
note. Even including, to be very frank, the CDM.
I want to note something. It is going to be, for me, from my own judgment, it is going to be an occasion for the president to further demonstrate his absolute powers, constitutional powers. I say this because it is true that political parties will lobby for their militants to be appointed to the Senate. But they should take note that the president is not obliged to appoint the persons they want from their party to join.
That's good.
The president will decide whom he wishes, whom he wants, by his own judgment to be a member of the.
It could be Steve.
So
That's normal.
I'm putting this across to I have this platform. I'm putting this across to the head of state that apart from just looking at political parties, he should look at
the civil society.
Civil society.
But you have
The Bar Council, the Journalists Association, the Council of Medical Doctors, the engineers. It should go beyond political parties.
These are all people who are very important. I abide to
Thank you.
And without forgetting to say that in the distribution of the food, like you put it, to remember that there are some children who are hungrier than others.
Thank you. See, we are carried away by your plea on this matter. We are going to use the 11 more minutes we have to talk about the next topic, and it's just after this interlude. Yes, very interesting. You're welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Press Hour. We are broadcasting live from the CRTV Production Center in Balatu. Balatu is in Yaoundé. And topic, we've finished with the first topic. We're talking about senatorial election. We are going to, in just 10 minutes, 11 minutes, 10 minutes, talk about the CPDM 38 years on. What is the legacy the ruling party is leaving, has left, and it continues to live for Cameroonians. And I particularly would like to congratulate some of the members of parliament and some Cameroonians who actually went to the northwest and southwest and celebrated this. We are saying this because we know the context in those areas, but it is inclusive. Life is coming back to normal. The situation is still very delicate, but we are going to encourage those who have that courage to go back there and talk to those who are holding us back. It is our plea that normalcy should be the order of the day. Special appreciation and thank you to you, Honorable Ago Oliver, who went and met farmers and some other economic actors in Bamenda this weekend for the celebration. All of you, we wish you well. Now, the CPDM at 38, what is the legacy? We're going to start not with the CPDM person, because he will just unroll the carpet. We'll start with you, Barrister. What will you say is the legacy the CPDM is leaving for Cameroonians?
At least the
ruling party rules the whole country.
One thing we should admit is the freedom of expression, even though at times this freedom is limited. Some semblance of democracy, we have it. We still have to work more for it, and it's the CPDM controlled power that is making the platform for us to have that. But I think there's a lot of work to be done, because CPDM still has the mindset of a one-party system, because birth came from it. And certainly I think it's because equally in this country, Cameroonians never sat to define the path for this country. And that's why the path has always been defined by the CPDM party, starting from the CNU. And so that has made it difficult for the society to really move based on the powers that belong to the CPDM. So in a nutshell, if I have to rate CPDM at 38, I think I will give them a fail mark, because they have made things difficult for the others to strive in the society. They use the fact that they have the power to trample on the others. There is no fairness, there is no equity, and anybody that is good, that wants the progress of a society, should hope and wish for fairness. Yes. So I think that CPDM has a lot to do with regard to embracing others, to think that what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. And I want to believe that. I don't know if Prof one day imagines CPDM in the opposition.
No, no, you're not. I'm not done with you. Yeah. You know, we give people to express their opinions here. What if somebody came here now and asked you, don't you think the problem is not the CPDM, the problem is those who have failed to come up to terms to face the CPDM squarely. What will you say? Because it's easy to say, oh, the CPDM has done this.
Simple. Simple. So many people have come up in the opposition to face the CPDM squarely, but CPDM has used the institutional powers to trample down on them. That's the answer I'll give that person. Thank you.
Albert.
Well, I don't want to say the obvious. One of the issues I want to say is some of the challenges that the party has had to face may not have succeeded in the way I would have expected them, one of which is governance. I think that the party has succeeded to make gains from the achievements of the state. We say it's the party in power or the party close to power. So anytime that the achievements of the state, by extension, the party obviously gains from it. But one thing I want to note is the ability of the party to dissociate itself when there are failures in government action. For instance, how many former vote holders or government cabinet ministers can be like Prof? That you leave, you are sure that questions of indictment wouldn't come. I think that the CPD...
You are invited to a platform like this one, you just appear and you speak off the cuff.
I think that the party still has to make a strong statement outside what the president often does with regards to its members who are indicted for misappropriation of state funds. All of us know that it is a big problem in our country. The CPDM Dean, oldest member of the House, made that statement where he was talking of a republic of scandals. We need to solve that problem because it jeopardizes government action and limits our access to facilities and amenities that all Cameroonians ought to enjoy. So I think that the aspect of governance is a major factor. Yes. But I also want to commend the party for being able to keep itself as a winning machine. However they do that, whatever they do to get that, okay. But I say that it is not always easy to be at the top for 38 years.
Yes. Stephen. Yes. We are on achievements. Legacy
CPDM at 38. What legacy? It's quite a tricky question. Interestingly, I've been on this set before with the very venerated Prof. When this question was put some time ago, even before the Joe completely asked the question, the Prof chipped in to say that it's peace, peace, peace. Today, when that question is put to the same CPDM people, you see everybody hesitating. They don't even mention that word anymore. It means there's something wrong. What the President Pobia was credited with the most before now was peace. That if he had to leave Cameroon maybe 6 years ago, he would have bequeathed peace to Cameroon. The peace of the country is suffering, seriously. That is one aspect. Secondly, the President and the CPDM, as the head of the CPDM, is supposed to be the guarantor of territorial integrity of our country. If the President should leave power now, the territorial integrity of the country is seriously threatened. You know the problem in the Northwest and Southwest, you know Boko Haram. And
by saying that, you are also a bit contradicting what you just said. It means that he is still having everything in control, that he has helped not to let that war degenerate.
I've used the word that it is seriously threatened. He's supposed to be the guarantor. If he's been threatened, it means there's a problem. That has to be fixed before the President leaves. At any time he decides to leave, it has to be fixed. There's a serious problem with the territorial integrity, with the peace, with the unity of our country. Yes. We are talking about CPDM at 38 years.
Thank you.
About development, you just need to go around Yaoundé. The roads in Yaoundé are all broken. Look at the road that links these two capitals, Yaoundé and Douala. It is a death trap. Each time you go, you use that road, you die several times before you get to your destination. If the president has to leave, or the CPD has to leave today, he will live with a bad name that they failed to do what they're supposed to have done to Cameroonians.
The road just got bad. They had been done.
It's a very
the problem is rehabilitation and reconstruction.
In the best of the state, it's a very bad road.
Yes.
What about water?
30 seconds. We have 2 minutes.
Kilian, what the citizenry needs from any government at the basics, water, roads, electricity. Do we have that in Cameroon? Before, when our country, when the government had a grip of Sonel and Snake, we didn't know of delestage, we didn't know of water shortages here and there. We had all those things. You had taps, street taps all over the place. Today you don't find street taps.
Yes, I cannot contradict that.
But a new way in our vocabulary.
You need to know that we are living within the same space, and we have
before 1990 we
have now. Yes, we have just 1.5 minutes to go. Prof has not spoken. Yes, Prof.
Let me just not conclude. You are the one concluding by saying that the learned barrister said earlier that the CPDM acts like a one-party system. I would disagree with that because I'm an example of the fact that if the CPDM party were a one-party system, I can assure you I wouldn't be a militant of the party. No. One of the reasons why I joined the CPDM is because I saw that based on the principles and the values of the party, it's one-party system is not, and the idea of, as they say, party doesn't exist because for there to be party or for there to be one-party system, you need three things. Either the law in parliament is passed, or there's a decree by the executive, or that the constitution says so. None of that is here. And the CPDM party in its text says that it's a party for other parties, which is open to other voices. And that is why some of us will put all our energy to make sure that it remains true to its principles and to its values. And I noticed that the learned barrister also gave it a failing mark. I would also disagree with that because one of the reasons why I believe that the CPDM has a good score, will give it an A+, because let us see here, the success of the CPDM is found right here, because the learned barrister can now sit here together with the others and say what he has said, and he's healthy. Yeah. Nothing is threatened about him. He's still free. That's
we guarantee that nothing will happen to anyone.
I guarantee that because I'm a member of the CPD. I guarantee the fact that he has a right and is free to say what he has said, even if I don't agree with it. And I think that's the way it should apply to the rest of the country. I'm glad to see that this thing is happening, this debate. As far as legacy is concerned, I strongly believe that the legacy that the CPDM will leave behind is that it's a party that, in spite of its victories, is a party of modesty. It preaches and it wants everyone to remain modest in spite of these crushing victories like we've just had. The national president and the hierarchy of the party would want that the party should continue to behave not as a triumphant sort of party, but be modest with others. There is compassion. You must continue to be compassionate to the others. You must continue to share.
Yes.
To share.
Thank you.
That means that even though you've got 70 over 70, you will find out that out of 100 seats in Senate, you will share these 100 seats with other political parties. And there will be openness. You must be open to the ideas of others.
Thank you.
That's why I belong to that party. Because if it is anything less than that, I'm sure that you will not...
Thank you very much. Professor Elvis Ngole, we are all agreed here, and it's agreed across the board that you are a special person. You are open, like you say. When we invite you here, you just come. You are not like others who cannot speak in public. We particularly give you that honor on Press Hour. Thank you very much for coming. Barrister Solicitor Ernest Mbaka, who is the Vice President of the General Assembly of the Cameroon Bar Council. Thank you very much for your ideas, Barrister. We would like to have you on Press Hour next time we invite you. We want to thank you equally, Stephen Ojong, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Median newspaper. Steve, you have been away for 2 years. Thank you for coming back. Now, our own Aben GM Bonde, political desk editor on CRTV Radio, we want to thank you very much. Your contributions, as I said earlier in this program, you are always level-headed. Thank you very much, Abed.
Was glad to be home.
And we thank you particularly, ladies and gentlemen, for giving us your time. That was what we made time for today on Press Hour. Have a blessed day.